Does the idea of creating your dream career after 50 sound like a pipe dream? Tune in today for some words of encouragement on why it is possible. We're back with John Tarnoff talking about his book, Boomer Reinvention, and what we go through to relaunch a second career. So, John, thanks for staying with us again.
Sure. Great to be here.
Well, you took us through the 5 steps, basically, that you cover in your book in our last segment. Mm-hmm. What I want to talk about now is really get your input on, people will hear this and, yeah, that sounds good, but they don't believe that they can do it.
Right.
What do you say to those who have just become discouraged?
Sure. Well, first of all, this is really important, and I think that I really appreciate you taking us down this path, because this is really the heart of it, and it is difficult. This is not for the faint of heart, yeah. Right? And I really recognize in talking about this concept of reinvention that I am setting a high bar in a certain way. But then again, as a coach, I think that's kind of what a coach is supposed to do. It's really about really painting the picture of what that goal can be, what this life goal, career goal can be for everyone, and recognizing that it is not necessarily an easy road to hoe. That there are going to be pitfalls along the way. There are going to be times where you fall down, times where you pick yourself up. But one of the things that I have discovered in developing this program and in talking to people and doing the research is that people are successful doing this. And there's a light bulb that you may not have seen go off just yet. But I have to say, I see this happen all the time. I see this with my clients. I see this with people that I've talked to. I see this in the research. People are much more able to pick themselves up, reinvent their careers, pivot to new ideas about who they are, what they're going to do at this age than at earlier ages. So the Ewing Marion Kaufman Foundation in Kansas City focuses on entrepreneurship. And their numbers all point to the fact that older entrepreneurs are up to twice as successful as younger entrepreneurs.
That's great. That's great to know.
We have this huge culture out there which celebrates the 21-year-old billionaire entrepreneur with a great social media business.
Right.
But for every one of those kids who pushes through, there are thousands of them who are clueless, who don't make it, who wind up going to work at a desk somewhere, and who may, bless them, quit in 6 months to go start another one, try to start another one. And I love millennials. I teach millennials in the graduate program that I co-run for Carnegie Mellon University here in Los Angeles. I have nothing against millennials at all. I think they're great. And I think there's a lot we can learn by working with millennials. Yes. There's a lot they can learn from us.
Exactly.
But we have the chops. And I think one of the most important things that we need to do is to recognize that we have the chops. That's the big hurdle that a lot of people have to get over, which is this discouragement. Mm-hmm. And the discouragement comes from the media. It comes from the experiences that we're having in the companies that we work at, where we're being looked at increasingly, perhaps in some cases, as no longer fitting in. Mm-hmm. People are expecting us to just somehow pick up and go away because we're supposed to. There's a lot of negative messaging that goes on, and we tend to believe it. So I don't want to go on too long about this, but I just really want to be encouraging to people to say that you can do this. There are lots of different ways of getting into it. My book is one way. There are. I'm not saying it's the only way. But I think we do have to give it a shot.
Yeah. And, to your point, to get that positive, seek that positive reinforcement. I mean, again, you're speaking to the choir here. Second act is all about, after 50, I changed everything. And no, it's not for the faint of heart. And, one of the best things for me is talking to people like you and having, these incredible motivational, inspirational people that I get to meet all the time. And that's one of the things I want to do with this program, is to hopefully provide information like today to encourage people to be able to do so.
Yeah, it really is about the encouragement. because the more you hear it, maybe this is the show where you go, okay, I've heard enough people saying I can do it. Maybe I actually can do it.
Yeah. One other thing that was in your book that really kind of hit home for me, like an aha, was, and maybe I'm speaking more of myself, but I was intimidated with technology, but I had to constantly relearn. And what I've learned in the last 5 years is incredible, in terms of technology. But that we actually invented this. We did this.
Yeah. Bill Gates, Jobs, Jeff Bezos, they're all boomers.
Yeah, exactly. And that it's that weird, I think, what did you call it? That our kids are the natives and we are.
Right. Well, there's this whole thing in the economy and HR about digital natives.
Yes.
And you'll see this in job postings, and it's very insidious. This idea that the digital natives, these kids, well, they grew up with technology. They really understand technology, whereas people who didn't grow up with technology, sorry to tell you, you're kind of outmoded. And I resent this incredibly, as you might guess.
Yes.
And I think the more important question that is not being asked in too many quarters is, you may have grown up with technology, but do you know what to do with it? And what is actually happening in companies is that people are finding that younger employees need to learn just as much as older employees about how to actually be effective and productive using technology. And just because you know how to create a collage on Instagram doesn't mean that you're going to be able to run a team meeting to sign a new customer.
Exactly. In closing, what are your words of wisdom that you feel are most applicable to what we're talking about today to our audience?
Just that it's possible, just that it really is possible, and that you need to start now. If you're over 50, this is really the time to start planning that next step, and don't put it off. Don't make any precipitous moves. You don't have to make any necessarily precipitous moves, but it's time to start planning it and start thinking about it. So one of the things I encourage people to do in the book is the first step is to start a journal. Mm-hmm. And I talk about the journaling technique specifically in the book, but to really start charting your progress and your thoughts towards this reinvention, this pivot, this next level of career that you want to create for yourself. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and if you have those voices in your head and that burning desire, start listening to them and taking action. Yeah, okay. Exactly. Well, John, I could go on and talk to you forever, and then there's there's actually a lot more I would like to discuss with you, maybe on future episodes, and I hope you will come back. For people that want to get in touch with John, we will have all of his information linked on our website and the link below. And I encourage you to pick up the book. It's an incredible read, and you will get something out of it that might take you in that direction. So, John, thank you, and we'll see you hopefully soon on another episode of Second Act TV.
Absolutely.
Bye. Thanks so much for watching. If you missed our previous segments with John, they're posted right over here. And don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Just click the button right here.